Welcome back to the Thomas Tortilla podcast, everybody. Today we have an amazing guest on, great friend here, amazing guy, the man, the myth, the legend, the beast, Shae Robinson.
Thank you. It's great.
Pleasure to have you on. So just like a quick recap, if you're not sure who Shae is, also a student at Western University, and a lot of things along the lines of entrepreneurship, right?
100%.
So here we're going to be speaking today with someone who's done content creation, sales, entrepreneurship, dedicated time and consistency in the gym as well.
Yep.
So a preview to some of the topics we'll discuss will be entrepreneurship, mindset. He's really big on mindset.
100%.
And also sales. He's doing a cool little sales role right now.
Yep.
And also when he pitches his sales thing or whatnot, I'll make sure to put all of his stuff down in the description so you guys can follow him. And then he's also on Fellow Card as well. You can also book a sales call with him for, I think you put very modest $1.
Yeah, that's for my pitch, and then I could be a closer for a little bit longer.
And then it goes more in depth, but then put like the thing there that like no financial advice or something. Don't want to get sued from
financial advice.
Sued from the Britain or Mexico, like some random person to sue. But yeah, there's not going to be really any structure. We're just kind of
great.
Just how we were just speaking earlier now, just more casual. But then now let's say we have a third friend here, like just imagine like Steph or like someone or like Econ, they're also in the conversation and we're just speaking to them. So yeah, pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Tell us about what got you into making content.
Yeah, that's a pretty good question, man. So I had wanted to create content from a young age. You know, I used to play video games, so I post content about Fortnite, and I used to post YouTube videos about soccer. I was a soccer player, and all of that stuff was extremely casual, and I forgot about it for a while. But going into first year of university, I kind of lost my purpose. I forgot what it was that I was chasing, and I actually went into a pretty dark place. And it took a lot for me to really lock in and focus up and realize what I wanted with my life and what my purpose was. And I decided that I wanted to help people and to provide value to others. So that was my motivation to start posting content. And, just started with one video, and then the second one, and the third one, and then I started posting daily, actually. And I really enjoyed it, and I had people messaging me telling me that what I was saying helped them get into dark places, helped them start locking in the gym, helped them feel motivated to try and make money, and that meant a lot to me, bro. So that's my main thing.
And then for those who don't know, you also took a little hiatus as well, right?
Yes, which, retrospectively thinking about it more now was a really bad idea. So basically, I felt like I wasn't gaining traction on social media because I hadn't achieved it. I hadn't achieved anything serious. So a lot of people believe that, to post online, you have to kind of be at the finish line already. Nobody's going to listen to you if you aren't already making $10,000 a month. Nobody's going to listen to you if you aren't already in great shape. So my thought was that because I wasn't rich yet, and because, I'm in good shape, but I don't really want to make my content about my physique. So because of those two things, like, nobody's going to want to listen to me posting online. So I decided, okay, I'm going to take a hiatus. I'm going to take a couple of weeks or a couple of months or maybe even a year off of content to try and make money, to try and hit $1 million or whatever.
Some sort of next big thing.
Exactly. And then go online and tell people, I made this happen. Now you should listen to me because I have what you want to have. But I've realized that was pretty stupid, and that I should try and show the whole journey of improvement online, because not a lot of people do that. And at the end of the day, I want to give people actionable advice, and I want to grow alongside my audience as opposed to coming back, being rich, and then trying to sell a course to other people.
Yeah, you don't want it to be like, it's like you have the content in the beginning, then you have like a mystery hiatus, and like, oh, we're all successful now listen to me. Like you want to be more vulnerable and like show them the whole journey.
100% process. I think that's super important because not a lot of people do that. I feel like all the big content creators, or a lot of big content creators, at least when it comes to money, are speaking from the finish line. You know, yeah, there's tons of value in that because these people know exactly how to make money because they've done it. But you know, I want to bring a bit of a unique perspective. And, you know, money isn't the only thing that I'm kind of concerned about, right? Like, I think my main thing is physical, mental, and financial. So, though I believe that making money is extremely important as a man, I also think that being in great physical shape and being capable is extremely important. I think that being intelligent and being able to speak well and being well versed on a wide array of different topics is also equally important as a man. So, without those three things, you're in trouble. So I think that's what I want to build my brand around, actually.
Yeah, it also makes more sense too with like helping people. Like there's more help like when they see the full roadmap.
100%. Yeah, I think in this day and age, a lot of people, and you know, I guess if you look back on the past 3 or 4 minutes of the podcast, it kind of seems like I am only concerned with money, and that's kind of due to what we see online. You know, everybody flexing in Lamborghinis on boats, talking about money this, money that.
Yeah,
but,
especially now we have, you know, there's still good creators, but creators like Brez and other sorts where like they make that the whole thing.
Yeah. So I think money has kind of become the focus for a lot of people, and I would be lying if I said that money hasn't been a big focus for me as well. But I think that there's so much more to being a man than how much money you can make, right? Like I said, physical, financial, and mental. And then, you know, I think being kind and being a good person and being a role model to others is extremely important, right? Like, what's the good in having lots if you aren't able to share that and show other people how to reach abundance as well?
Exactly. Yeah, it also says, like a similar. There's also a similar message just like that where it says in the Bible, like, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? You probably heard that. It's like similar thing where it's like even if you do achieve all these end goals of money and whatnot, like if you're not helping people or you're not like truly honest about it. So I can definitely see how stepping back from the hiatus is more so like in line with that vision of like helping people.
Yeah.
Because then otherwise it's kind of just from the end goal, and then I think they'd also see you like a different light. Like maybe this way they'd see you more so as a peer.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more trust that way, right? Like if people see kind of the come up, then you know I'll kind of be able to show people how to do what I want to do in real time. And you know, I think it's equally as important as it is to show success and show how you achieve success. I think it's equally important to show failure and show how even through failure you can learn and you can still succeed and you can become better. You know, I think the one thing that I really live by is that if you work hard enough for long enough and never give up, there's no way that you can fail in achieving the goal that you so desire. So, you know, on the path to greatness or on the path to becoming a great father, on the path to whatever it is that you want, there will be tons of failure. There will be you'll face a lot of trials and tribulation, but if you continue to persist through trials, through tribulation, through failure, then there's no way that you won't achieve what your heart desires.
And also, like chasing those no's as well is valuable as well too. Like, you know, also like you probably know like Alex Mosey and all those guys. Like the same thing where he puts it so simply, and he's like, literally just outwork people. For example, when he was working for like his gym launch business or something else similar on that line, he was telling a story how his mentor at the time said, like go put out some flyers or whatnot as a form of advertising. And then he went out and put out 1,000 flyers all throughout the whole city. And then like 4 months later, 0 people responded from those flyers. And then like called his mentor, was so angry. And then the mentor said, it was like something crazy, which doesn't even seem real. It's like, we put out like 3,000 an hour or something like that. It's like we put a total of like 4 million or something crazy. So then like the takeaway is like, and it's also a bit different ever since it says quality instead of quantity, but sometimes it is that quantity, you know?
100% volume game, for sure. I think everything good that's happened in my life, I would attribute every positive thing that has happened to me in my life to volume. You know, one good example that I can bring up, I wasn't going to go to university, right? I was going to get my real estate lessons and try to sell real estate. But a couple of good things happened. Like I got this big scholarship, so that was one thing. But also, I was able to make a bunch of money trading cryptocurrency. And, you know, I had been trying to make money for years. I started working when I was 12. You know, I hated not having anything. I hated not having money. So I started working from a young age, and I tried so many different things. I tried to drop ship. I tried to trade stocks. I did reselling for a little bit. I would resell candy out of my locker. And, you know, it was just every week, every month, every year, every day, I was thinking about how I could come across money, how I could make money. And then I learned about crypto, right? And every day I would watch videos, every day I would place small trades and then try to understand how everything works, and you know how supply and demand, how user sentiment, or how sentiment online kind of influenced how cryptocurrency moved. And because I spent every single day trying to learn about it, I was actually able to make enough money to where if I needed to, I could pay for my whole education, like all 4 years. And actually, I made a video about that. But if I hadn't been trying to make money for years, if I had given up on making money earlier and I had told myself, you know, I'm only 18, you know, I'm okay. It's okay if I don't have enough money, if I don't go to school, and if I don't do this and if I don't do that, then I would have never kind of came across the money that I did. So that's one good example. And then even in the gym, right? I started off very, very thin. I'm about 6'2", 6'3", and when I started working out, I was 130 pounds. So I was very thin. I have a picture, and it looked pretty insane, man. But I started going to the gym every single day, and I would force myself to eat 5,000 calories a day because I hated being thin. And through persistence, through high volume, through repetition, I was able to get, you know, I'm 205 pounds, man. I would like to think that I'm one of the biggest guys in the gym. So, you know, high volume in whatever it is that you do is extremely important. Obviously, quality is important too, but I think if you work hard enough, then you give yourself the opportunity to get lucky.
Mm-hmm. Especially as well, there's also another one of these people online, Dan Martell, also says the similar thing, but also that even the negative volume could be good too. So he's like, especially for sales.
Yeah.
He says, like, there was like a kid asked him, like, what do I do if I want to like get it to sales? Then like he gave him a goal. He's like, go sell something and get 100 no's. So like if you chase those like 100 no's or whatnot, like that just goes to show like that the volume, like there's so much to like the volume there, because even if it's a no, like 100 no's, that still could lead to a yes.
Yeah, 100%. I would definitely I'm not a great speaker yet. I want to become an amazing speaker.
On, yeah.
But I used to really suck, man. I was very nervous as a child. I went to speech therapy because I would always say, like I had a lisp. I still kind of have a lisp. But one thing that I did, I think, to be able to get better at speaking is sales. So what I did was I would buy, it's gonna sound pretty stupid, but I would buy ice, I would buy spray bottles, I would buy drinks, and I would literally just walk around and try to sell them to people. And you know, I didn't really care what the weather was, right? Like it could be raining, it could be nighttime, whatever, I'm still gonna try and sell ice. I'm still gonna try and sell cold drinks to people, just purely for the reps, for the volume, and to make myself uncomfortable. I think that the more people that you're able to speak to, the more opportunities that you have to speak to people, the better you'll become at speaking and the better that you'll become at selling. So even in everyday life, man, like when I go to the gym, I make it a goal to talk to at least 3 people. Not because, I really love talking to people, not because I'm looking for friends. Well, I mean, I'm kind of looking for friends, but
it's just the numbers there. You don't care about the other stuff.
But because I think that speaking is practice. Even us talking in this podcast right now, this is practice for me to get better at speaking. To I've never been in a podcast kind of scenario to learn what it's like to be interviewed and to kind of to watch over the video and see what my flaws were. How I could have done better, and then kind of to take that and improve next time I do a podcast or next time I speak to somebody. So,
and I'm interested in buying the ice and then going to sell that.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate more on that? That's so unique.
Okay, so I've been selling things for my whole life. Back in middle school and in high school, I was like the candy guy. So I would go buy candy from the dollar store. I would go buy drinks from the dollar store, and I'd take them to school, keep them in my locker, and then resell them to people. 100% markup, because nobody wanted to walk to the dollar store. People didn't have enough money to Uber Eats at the time, right?
Yeah.
So
you didn't know what it was at the
time. Exactly. Nobody knew about it. We were kids.
Yeah.
So guys didn't even have credit cards. So I would resell candy out of my locker, and I made a decent amount of money from it. So, I knew that it was profitable on a small scale. $100 for a 15, 16-year-old kid is sick, right?
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. But for the ice and for the drinks, actually, this is a funny story, and I'm glad you asked. So I grew up in Scarborough, and some kids, certain parts of Scarborough get a little bit tough. And my best friend, actually, he's a bit younger than I am. So I'm 19. My best friend, he's 18 right now. He was 17 at the time. He was actually homeless. So he lived with me for a while. And my dad works at a homeless shelter. So we were trying to help him out there. But we were basically, this is kind of how I look at it. The money that we would make, we went up together to sell ice, to sell things. It was like a way for him to make money. We would just give him all the money so that he could pay for things like food. The guy had only eaten ramen noodles. We went months and months only eating dollar store ramen noodles. So it was this was an opportunity not only for me to get better at sales and for him to get better at sales, because I believe that sometime in the future me and him are going to start a business together. But it was also to kind of help the guy out so that he could make some money and kind of afford to have decent, better food and stuff like that. So that was kind of the whole thing behind it. But we both got way better at sales, and we got a lot closer because we'd be out there for 8 hours sometimes trying to sell everything. And this is on the weekends off for my internship. So I was an intern at an investment bank. This was last summer, and I worked probably 50 hours a week at the bank as an intern, and then on the weekends I would go and sell this stuff with my friend. So
that's beautiful. The helping started before the content or anything else. It was purely just from the heart.
That's my friend, and I think he grew up under very unfortunate circumstances, and I want to make sure that as I advance in the world and as I continue to make good things happen, that I take him with me, and we can. What he likes to say is, one day in the future, we're just gonna be 2 kids who grew up in Scarborough, driving Lamborghinis, and I don't care about the material things, right? I don't want a Lamborghini or anything like that, but I like the idea of 2 guys, really just making it up together. Through pure hard work and determination and volume.
Yeah. And then the one thing I am curious about sales is, I think a huge part of the sales economy isn't even selling the products or services, it's teaching sales to salespeople. What are your thoughts on that? That would even like potentially even be a clip as well. Like, what are your thoughts on teaching salespeople how to sell? Do you think that's a scam?
I think there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
There are certain things in sales that are difficult to learn. People use these fancy terms, pattern interrupt, or pushing on hot buttons, or selling on emotion. Like when I was selling ice at the beach, before I would just kind of go up to people, oh, ice, whatever, try and talk to them. And that was good for me, for getting me out of my comfort zone and for getting me comfortable with talking to random people and trying to build rapport. But I wasn't actually selling properly. And it wasn't until I spoke to this old dude that I met at the gym where he told me that you have to sell based on emotion instead of just the product. So from there, because this guy kind of gave me a little nugget, when I went out to sell ice, I was like, oh, it's a hot day. A lot of people get heat stroke if they're not careful. You wouldn't want to get heat stroke. You wouldn't want to, something like that, right? Here's ice. Ice will help keep you cool. It'll prevent heat stroke, whatever. So selling on that negative emotion, and that's not exactly how I would sell it, but selling on that negative emotion helped me kind of have a higher turnover rate, if that's the or close rate, if that's the right word. So I think it's important that people kind of understand what you should do in the basic structure of a sales call. Because I get on lots of sales calls, and there has to be a little bit of a structure. Right? You can't tell people the price before you tell them the value of what you're selling, right? But past the basic stuff, the best way to make somebody good at sales, and I'm not even great yet. I'm still practicing. I'm still getting on calls every day trying to close people on the offer that I'm on right now. But the best way to get good at sales is literally just to sell. So we were talking about this earlier. I'm probably going to work door-to-door sales over the summer, not because I couldn't. It's just funny. Like I talk to people about it, and people ask me, why am I doing door-to-door sales? Because last summer I was an intern at an investment bank, right? And I tell people that it literally is just getting this experience, getting this volume. A lot of people look down on door-to-door sales, but the truth is, if I can talk to 100 people every single day, that's 100 reps in real sales situations. That's way more experience than anybody who goes and sits at a sales and trading desk at an investment bank, or is a sales intern at owner.com or whatever. In my opinion, not that this investment banks or owner's actually sick. I was talking to one of the guys at the company, but I think the best way to get experience and the best way to get better at sales specifically is literally just to do it over and over and over and over again. And so my plan is to do exactly that. And then once I come out of this summer as a killer salesman, who has spoken to tens of thousands of people and who has closed thousands of deals, and thousands might be a stretch, but hundreds of deals.
Yeah, say thousands. Come on.
True. Say thousands, huh? I think I'd be a golden door recipient. Like I would be one of the. If I could close thousands, I'd be like the top seller in the country. But that's the goal, man. I always want to be the best. So yeah, thousands. Yeah, but the goal is to talk to tons of people, get tons of sales, get tons of reps in, and then by the time I finish the summer, I'll be a killer salesman and I'll just be a beast. So that wherever I go next, whether it be financial sales or some sort of higher ticket offer. I mean, right now I'm trying to do some marketing stuff. I'll just be a killer, man.
So how do you recommend, let's say, someone to do that exact same thing? Are you going to be selling for a company, or are you going to be doing some sort of product that you're flipping, or your own thing, or
Got it.
how would you go? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And how would you recommend for someone to start that?
So it depends on, I guess, where you're at, right? Like if the person, whoever's watching this is young, maybe in high school or something, I would say that your best option is to literally do what I did. Buy candy, buy drinks, maybe buy sneakers, whatever, and then just try and sell things.
But would that work door to door?
Yeah, so maybe don't start door to door, I would say. Like the initial experience, the super low level experience, would literally just be walking around in the hallway at your school trying to sell people candy and just getting used to talking to people. So that's the most important thing, because sales is literally just, can you get somebody to like you enough to buy things from you? So if you're not a likable person, then it's difficult to make sales. So actually, even before trying to sell candy or trying to sell drinks, like literally just start talking to more people. If you don't have any friends, or if you're not good at making friends, or if you're not good at making connections, then that's the first step that you have to take, because nobody's gonna buy from you if they don't like you. So start talking to more people, get good at making friends, and then from there start trying to sell things to people. Low ticket items, $2 candy bars, whatever, and then continue to just build up experience until you have the necessary skills to be able to sell something big, which is what I'm trying to do, right? I need to still build up these skills before I can kind of get into the big high ticket things.
What big high ticket things are you on?
That's a great question. So I haven't really narrowed it down, but I am interested in financial sales just because I actually know a lot about investing. Obviously, I made a decent amount of money trading cryptocurrency, and then with the capital that I had, with the capital that I have, I swing trade stocks. So I have a decent understanding on financial markets.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one option. Real estate is pretty interesting. But long-term, the goal is to start my own business and then just run sales for whatever I'm selling, whether it be a product or a service.
Oh, that's dope. So, I guess every founder is doing that. Like they're the head sales guy, but that would interest you the most out of starting a business.
100%. Yeah, I want to work for myself and I want to do my own thing. I hate the idea of having another man be able to tell me when I can and can't do things. And I actually made a resolution. So over the summer, I was an intern in an investment bank, and I was getting paid $20 an hour. And to be frank with you, and I think if anybody watching this has been an intern, you could probably understand that, like, we don't really do anything. Obviously, there are tasks, whatever, make a slideshow, edit this pitch deck, make some Excel graphs, whatever. And it depends on where you work, right? Like some places will have you doing really meaningful projects, but for me, I didn't really do anything. I didn't really do much. Like I gave some presentations, I edited some pitch decks, but I would say of the 8 hours that I was being paid, I was probably only doing meaningful work for like 3 of those hours, to be honest. And that kind of got to me, like not that I wasn't doing work, but that I was being paid for providing no value. And then go back a couple of years, I was a waiter, I was a busboy at a restaurant throughout high school, and I found that I would work way harder than a lot of my coworkers, but I wouldn't get paid more. So, and like even at the investment bank, I was looking to do my own thing.
So it's like both ends of the spectrum there.
Fully. So, like at the investment bank, I was getting paid for doing my own certificates. Like I was doing like my G2 course during work, and I was getting paid for that. So I kind of made the resolution that I will never go on salary again. So I never want to get paid a salary. I work for this startup right now. It's a stealth startup, and they were telling me, that they would pay me 50 USD or something an hour to try and run sales for them. And I told them, don't pay me salary, just give me pure commission on whatever I'm able to get. So I've been working, I've probably put in the last week, like 50, 60 hours of work at the company as a full-time student, and while I'm also working with this other business. So I have 2 jobs right now. And I haven't been paid a dime because I haven't closed a deal yet. I've gotten on calls. I have a meeting booked on Wednesday, which I'm sure I'm going to close, but I haven't been paid anything. And that is how I want it to be.
That's so like honorable that like you're staying true to the testament of providing value. Because if you weren't, then you would have just like taken the pay cut. But this way, it's literally you don't get paid if you don't provide value.
100%.
And then it's the testing ground as well, where you said, maybe I think a lot of young men think this, especially now they want to be entrepreneurs, to be the head boss and not have to take instructions.
Yeah.
So even though like you're starting at this now, like that's great grounds to eventually, once you make money here, know that when you go into like the more riskier league of you doing it yourself, that would be able to provide for a future family down the line. Because 100%. Now it's much easier. We're in university, we probably have the least amount of responsibilities now compared to incoming the next 10 years. So yeah, that experience, like regardless of where it is, with being value driven at the start,
100%, yeah.
that totally makes sense to be value only.
Facts.
As well.
Yeah. You know, my whole life, one thing that I've learned from my life experiences is that there's no such thing as a free lunch, or at least not for me. And
yeah.
At this point in time, I wouldn't want to accept a free lunch either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to leave a lasting impact on the world, and you know, I'm not gonna be able to leave that impact if I'm receiving from others instead of creating. So yeah.
Yeah, I take back what I said with like the sales coaching potentially being a scam, because right there I think there's a lot of valuable knowledge that someone watching today could go home and use. So definitely that did clear some things. Like definitely there is some value to that. Like heck, you might even put up like, I don't know, you could even be a sales coach yourself, you know?
You know, give me a couple of years. Let me I actually have a personal website. I don't know if I've showed it to you before.
Yeah.
But my big things, like I've mentioned these a lot.
ShaeRobinson.com.
ShaeRob.com. Yeah, ShaeRob.com.
Go search it. I'll put it down below as well, but yeah.
Basically, my three main things, and I'm sorry for being a bit repetitive, but you know, physical, financial, mental, those are the three things I think are super important. So on the site, I'm going to post things about, you know, what I do in terms of my body, you know, how I work out, what I'm doing, how I look. I'm going to post things about, I write articles, so I'm going to post some of my Substack articles on there, and I have like a real-time tracker of the amount of revenue that I generate. So I kind of forget where I'm going here, but I remember. Okay, so right now, in terms of revenue over the past few months, I've been able to generate a bit over $100,000 for one of the companies that I work for, and you know, let me get to 100 million before I start doing any sales coaching. So you know, if you want to check it out, if you want to see in real time how much revenue I've generated for the multiple companies that I am working for or that I will work for, check out my website.
That's so cool. How do you have a real-time tracker?
I just update it. Yeah.
Oh, you just update it?
I just update it. Yeah, it's not like a real. Maybe real-time tracker might not have been the right word, but I update it, you know, weekly.
Yeah.
On how much revenue I've generated through sales that I've made for the company that I'm consistently selling for. So one company that I work for, we do arbitrage. So we built an API algorithm that finds mismatched odds in sports books, where you can bet money on both sides of the same game, and no matter who wins and who loses, you win more money than you lose. And we're a registered business, so we have like contractual agreements with a lot of these sports betting apps to where they give us larger bonuses and better benefits. So we're able to make clients around $8,000, and then we take a profit share. So we take 33% of the profit that we make them. So every client is worth around $2,000 for us, and then they'll make around $6,000 themselves. And so I'm usually able to close a client a day on that through meeting people. So I do full cycle sales. So I'll meet people in person, or I'll contact people online, and then I'll qualify them. So see if they have enough money to start, see if they're old enough to start, see if they, you know, because ideally our clients haven't done too much sports betting before. And then once I qualify them, I try and book calls.
So for example, what would that look like now? Like, let's say, for example, the person watching this is interested. Like, what would that process look like?
Yeah, perfect. So usually I actually do the outreach, and I have to convince people to be interested, to be able to get on a call with them. But if somebody on here is actually interested already and is watching this video and wants to we can make our clients around $1,000 pure profit for themselves per month, then literally if you message me, we can book a call, and then I'll walk you through the whole thing. And it's a sales call, but we're actually not getting you to pay us anything. It's just for the deposits on the different apps. But yeah, if anybody's interested, you know, hit me up. I would love to help you make money, and then, you know,
especially with what he's been saying as well, where like that ethos of value creation.
Yeah.
So
100%.
It's only coming from creation. It's not like anything is being taken.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. I think it's a great offer, and that's why my close rate is so high over the phone, because there actually is really not any downside. It's just, if you're willing to put in a couple of hours per month, then we can help you make money, and you make money, and our company makes money. So
one thing I think to add that helped clear it to me as well is also sharing the negative as well. Like you said, when you first heard about it, you thought it was a scam.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of negative stigma around sports betting, right? It kind of sounds like a degenerate activity. And before I started doing this arbitrage betting, which again, arbitrage is completely mathematical, so we built an algorithm around this. But before I started this, I had never placed a bet in my life. You know, I'd never done the lottery. I'd never been to the casino. I'd never bet on sports. I don't even watch sports. But you know, whenever there's an opportunity, I think one thing about me is that I'm an opportunist. So anytime that I hear that there's an opportunity for me to make money or connect to different people, like, you know, when you told me that you had a podcast, of course I want to hop on the podcast, man, because that's an opportunity for me. So whenever I hear about an opportunity, I'm always open to hearing it out. And I heard out this opportunity, sounded good, and I gave it a try. And I started as a client, and I definitely do not regret it because I've made money as a client, and it's opened up, just giving me the chance to work sales. And this is actually my first real sales job working with this company. So, you know, taking this initial risk really opened up a lot of doors for me. And I think
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like now it's starting to become more and more real because with the ice packs or with the candy or whatnot,
yeah,
like it's amazing that you're going from essentially like do it yourself to now it's like a real company. That's so
100%.
cool.
Yeah, 100%. And it's pretty funny. I don't know. I might be using like a kid-like term, but I've been LARPing as like a serious salesman, like live action role play. So I've LARPed.
That's what it means. I've been so offline. I have no idea. That makes so much sense. I see that everywhere.
So because I started working, like this started with me just referring my friends and telling like, pitching it to them and telling them how much money they'll be able to make if they do this. Mm-hmm. And then I referred so many people that the guy who runs the business just told me like, yeah, do you want to come on as our sales guy, as the head of sales? I said yes. I started doing sales, and all of a sudden that led to me having the opportunity to work for a startup as well. Mm-hmm. So
do you spill the beans for the 10-year 100 million?
You know what? I have a 10-year plan, and I have a main 10-year goal, and that goal has sub goals attached to it. So before I can reach for this goal, I need to accomplish this and that and that, but I can't say it out loud.
Oh, so a ladder is out. Yeah, it makes sense with the not saying it out loud. There's also as well, I think like some Bible quotes are very valuable. There was one, Judith 8:34 in the Old Testament, where it says, but you must not ask me what I'm going to do, because I will tell you what I'm going to do once I complete the task.
Oh, yeah, good one.
So, yeah, it's exactly that, because even outside of the spiritual sense, like it's been shown to prove that, like when you say your goals preemptively, then that releases the dopamine as well. So it's like every sort of layer kind of advises against that. But yeah, it's great to have like the mini points within like the sub goals within the $100 million plan.
100%.
And one thing as well, it's funny you say this. Also, Elon Musk has a quote where he says, take your 10-year plan and achieve it in 6 months. And he says, when you do this, you probably won't achieve it in 6 months, but it'll be a drastic speed boost.
So one thing that I do is I have an image of the person that I think I am, right? Like all of the decisions that I make or the decisions that I try to make align with the identity that I've cultivated for myself in my own mind. So in my mind, I believe that I'm somebody who works extremely hard, who refuses comfort, who always looks for opportunity to get better, who is constantly trying to improve. And all of my decisions...
So you really visualize it.
I visualize the exact person that I think I am and that I want to become, and I try to align all my decisions with that person. So for example, I only take cold showers. I haven't taken a warm shower in over a year. And that's not because there are huge benefits to cold showers. I don't know what's more healthy, right? Warm showers, cold showers. I don't even care. It's just every time that I hop into a cold shower first thing in the morning or right before I go to bed, I'm reminding myself that I'm the kind of person who refuses comfort and who is willing to put himself through difficult, uncomfortable things in order to get better. Or I guess in this case, like low-key for no reason. But I'm the kind of person who refuses comfort, man. So
I think that's very valuable today, especially now with all the comfort we have, especially with all the short form content or whatnot.
yeah,
Especially now with having Uber Eats deliver food to you right now. There's like convenience everywhere.
100%.
So that definitely is a skill to like take down that comfort.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned that as well. Is something that I think like I myself need to improve on with the comfort as well, because how I see it, I'm not sure if anyone listening to this can relate, but I find like my productivity or just essence and well-being in life is kind of like a sine curve, where say like the top is like the peak performance, life's good, and the bottom is like truly the bottom, like it's gonna be over. I find how it is for me is once I am here and I'm like starting to be really well, I like take my foot off the gas completely, get super comfortable, sleep in more than I should.
Yeah.
Maybe in your case that would be going back to warm showers or whatnot, skip a class, whatever it is. Like literally, like once I get to that point, like the comfort just sets in, and then it's only when it's like at the point of despair where it's like, if I don't lock in now, I'm cooked. Like if I don't hit the 1 million, like I'm cooked.
Yeah.
Only then, like I start paddling on the canoe super hard. So I think that is a very valuable skill to be at that extreme as well, because then it's not just when it depends on you doing great things. It's even when you're at your best, you're consistently doing great things. So then you plateau above the sine wave as well. So then for you, like you're not in, I think like most people who are like in the sine wave where we only do it when we need to. For example, doing your like assignment last minute, like you only do it when you need to, and then other than that, you're coasting. So I think, although some of those do seem like really extreme, I think that extreme is so powerful, because when you're not comfortable, even when we go to a great university, great people that we just casually meet and whatnot, like regardless of that comfort, the fact that you're still doing that, that's gonna take you to like the $100 million,
Yeah, yeah. And I guess that kind of goes on to my point of like, or your point of, when I lose myself, because I like to think of myself as somebody who works very hard and who does lots of things on a daily basis. But there are times where I will, sleep in and hit snooze on my alarm. There are times where I will, wait outside of the shower for 20 minutes thinking about why I shouldn't take a cold shower.
There.
Yeah. There are times where, I, especially last year, where I would think like, what am I even doing? What's even the point, right? It's in times like that where you need to kind of draw on purpose, and that's super big to me. Purpose is huge to me. I mean,
What is your purpose?
it's a good question,
Now
man.
we're getting deep, eh?
Yeah. So I think I mentioned briefly earlier that last year kind of lost myself. Last year was a terrible year for me. So for a bit of context, this is a bit random, but I was an athlete all throughout high school. So, and I was like on top of the world, right? I was after the year, 3 years in a row. I was the captain of basically every team that I played on. I was the valedictorian in my high school. And then when I graduated, I came here during first year, and things were so different. The people I was around, because I come from Scarborough, right? We're here at Western. The people that I were around were so different. Came from extremely different backgrounds. Yeah. And I wasn't an athlete anymore, so I wasn't playing my sport, and I was thinking about just some bad things that had happened to me in my past. So it's like pairing not being an athlete with bad childhood experiences, with like being around people that are so different from the people that I grew up with, it just kind of, it was so weird, and I just didn't know what I was doing, and I was extremely lost. And I thought to myself very often, like, really, what was the point, right? What was my purpose? And I kind of went into almost a bit of a depressive state. Not like I'm sad, I wasn't sad. I was just like, what is the point? What am I even doing? So what I started doing was I began to journal, and I began to write. And I think I realized after writing that the reason why I felt so depressed was because I didn't have any purpose. It's like, if you wake up in the morning and you're not excited for the day, or you don't have anything to strive for, then that's just a lack of purpose. So I spent hours and hours and days trying to figure out what my purpose was. And like, to be honest with you, I couldn't find a real purpose. But what I was able to find was a temporary one. And my temporary purpose is just to win, and winning can mean anything. But for me, it's in the decisions that I make. With every decision, there's, to an extent, not every decision, most decisions, there's a right and there is a wrong answer. Should I or should I not eat that piece of cake? Should I or should I not skip that workout, skip that set, or decide to go lighter on this exercise? Should I or should I not get on this sales call? Because I could reach out to anybody. Because I work 2 sales jobs, there is never a moment where I shouldn't be doing work. Because I generate leads myself. If there's ever a time where I'm not working, where I'm not either doing schoolwork, where I'm not either in the gym, where I'm not either eating, where I'm not working, if there's ever a time that I'm enjoying leisure, then that's just proof that I don't want it enough, because I could be working 24/7, right? So, my purpose is to win in every decision that I make, and is to continue to get better every day. I love the Japanese proverb Kaizen, continuous improvement, and that literally is just my purpose, bro. Just to win every decision, is to become better every single day, and is to win in life, in whatever that means to me, I guess.
There's happiness that comes from achieving each goal. So when winning every micro decision, then every single time you say no to that cake, that is a win, and then you fulfill that purpose as well.
Yeah.
Do you think this purpose will take you far if it's just winning? Do you think maybe there could be like a greater purpose for you?
Yeah, so winning is my temporary purpose. That's kind of what I found, because I was in such a bad spot last year, and I didn't really understand why I was doing anything. I had to come up with something. I had to figure out a reason to keep moving forward, and winning was the reason that I was able to find. But I've set goals, right? I have a 10-year plan. I have financial
6-month plan now.
6-month plan now. So I have a lot of goals, and winning to me also means achieving the goals that I desire. So I think right now, like, my 10-year goal is actually one of the main things that I want to achieve in my life, and I want to get it done in 10 years. And once I'm able to do that, then maybe I'll find another purpose. Maybe my purpose will be to be an amazing father and a loving husband. Maybe my purpose will be to find God. I'm not religious or anything, but I believe in a higher power, and I have just never really explored religion or anything. Maybe that'll become my purpose. Maybe my purpose will be to, I want to give back. If you check out my website, the first thing that you'll see in like the writing portion is that I want to leave a lasting impact on the world. So my purpose will be to help people, or to figure out a way to have an impact on the entire world, a positive impact on the entire world, to where people can live better, more fulfilled life. So I don't know. I think I'll be able to figure that out later. But as of right now, I need to be selfish and I need to achieve the goals that I have for myself, and they're pretty selfish goals.
So I'm curious with the, like in the more spiritual sense and like the religious aspect, what you said, but you haven't opened up to finding God, but you think God is real?
I do, yeah.
You think God's real. So then, would you say like you're only going to start to focus on the more spiritual stuff in 10 years, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so I mean, I talk to a lot of people, and I think a lot of people that I really respect have spoken to me about God, or about Christianity mainly. That's what a lot of these guys have spoken to me about. So, my good friend Ryan Martell, great guy. We had a long conversation, a long conversation, and then another friend of mine, NMB, she spoke to me about God, and a few people that I knew from back in the day would talk to me about God, and I've been open to learning, and I've watched videos, and I just haven't really dove very deep into it, but I definitely will at some point in time. But I think right now I'm just trying to move so fast in different directions that I haven't been able to give it a deep dive. But
So would you say it's like there's no like natural curiosity now, or is it that you don't think you have time now?
I think I'm just going slowly. So I am learning, every week, every month, and I'm taking it at a slow pace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So what was Ryan Martell telling you?
We were talking about we were talking about a lot of things, but one topic that was super interesting. So on my website again, I have that I'm the luckiest guy in the world, and I truly believe that. I think throughout my life I've gotten so lucky, and I've made it to places where I probably maybe shouldn't have. So I think that I'm extremely lucky, and we would talk about fate. It's fate. It was meant to be that we had met each other. I think Ryan Martell, he's one of the kind of people that I think I'll be able to work with down the road, and I think we'll have a great relationship going into 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and maybe we'll work together to leave a lasting impact on the world. And that was one thing that I thought was really that we spoke about.
Do you think it's fate?
That's kind of what we were talking about. Like, it was, God had a plan. God has had a plan for my life. God has had a plan for his life. God has a plan for everybody's life. And when you meet somebody, it's not really random. It was meant to kind of happen. That's what we were speaking about. So
it's a beautiful way to look at it. It's not just like a random or coincidence that you just say hi to someone. I think there's like some beauty to that
yeah,
like there is higher purpose and whatnot, because then like even let's say Shae 1 year ago, where you're struggling to find your purpose, then like even if you don't believe in Jesus, it's good to know that like there is that purpose behind that, which could be really good. What I'm really interested in is, you said your mindset was one of your 3 things. It was the fitness,
yeah,
it was the finance, and the mindset.
yeah.
Along this journey that you've had, because you've taken like so many risks with entrepreneurship, and then risks as well with content creation as well, because I know people who want to make content, but they don't do that because of the risk of someone judging them, or
Sure.
they want to take the leap of faith to pursue the dream or whatnot,
Yeah.
but then they back down and do the safe option.
Yeah.
With the mindset, have you found some like pushback from people along this journey, and how do you handle that? For example, this summer, I also had a good experience last summer interning at RBC, and I was telling someone at university that I rejected my return offer to pursue my dream, which it wasn't even, the new fellow card site at the time. It would be podcast discussions of that, but it was like, something greater, like a bigger risk. And then the response was like laughter. When you start this thing, there's people that, they judge and they say, oh, that's never gonna happen. Oh, that's a terrible idea. Or it's, what are you doing? Have you encountered that sort of pushback, and how did you manage to wrestle with that? Because that could also be something stopping people from being so hive-minded from their peers that when they try to break out and do an impossible thing, everyone gazes and says, what are you doing? So what was your mindset approach to having that?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that I had been told when I was pretty young by a hall monitor actually at my school was that when everybody is going one direction, you should go the other direction. And I think I actually took that way too literally back in the day, so I didn't really have that many friends.
Yeah.
When everybody else would kind of go and hang out and do things outside of school, I would kind of just be by myself studying or working out.
Because of that piece of advice?
Because of that piece of advice.
Wow.
So that kind of, and I took it really literally when I was young, but now that I'm older, I'm pretty grateful actually that I did take it literally, because I'm at the point where obviously you need to take other people's opinions and, think about them, right? Like if you were to give me a piece of advice, or if somebody else, even people who you respect and people who you don't respect, you should at least listen to what they have to say and then make your own decisions with that input, I think. So whenever somebody says something to me, I'll think about it and I'll process it, but at the end of the day, the decision is mine, and nobody else's opinion can control the decision that I make. So, one thing that I love about life, man, is that we have free will, we have freedom, and in every moment in time, for me, every single moment, I have the freedom to make whatever choice I so please. And regardless of what anybody else says or what anybody else thinks, that choice is mine alone. So, sure, people can say that what I think or what I do is very extreme. People can say, wow, it's stupid or cringy to post content. People could say,
Has that happened?
Back in the day, it didn't really, but again, it doesn't really matter, bro. It's just, if you want to do something and if you can rationalize why you want to do something, the way I think about it, if you want to do something and if you can rationalize why you want to do that thing and it makes sense to you, then just do it. If people tell you no, think about what they have to say, take in their input, add that to your thoughts, rationalize again, and if what you want to do still makes sense, then just do it. So that's my thing. If you have a dream and you want to achieve the dream, and that's more important to you than going back to RBC, then go after the dream, bro. I mean, we only live once, right? What's the point of kind of going the safe or traditional route?
Yeah, to you watching this, yes, you, right there watching this right now, and you knew that dream that you've been putting off or whatnot, take that leap of faith.
100%, yeah.
Because, and tying back to what we said earlier, even that results in a fail or whatnot, you should be chasing 100 failures.
100%. Failures make you stronger. If you don't fail, if you don't know what failure tastes like, then you will never be able to fully enjoy success. That's one thing that I think about. And that's one thing that I would tell my close friends. If you don't know what it feels like to be broke, then you won't be able to appreciate being rich. If you don't know what it feels like to be skinny or fat, then you won't be able to appreciate what it feels like to be extremely fit. If you don't know what it feels like to have a conversation with somebody else and feel stupid, then you'll never be able to appreciate when you become smart. You have to have seen the worst to be able to fully appreciate the best, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. You need to appreciate the other side. You can only do that once you've had both experience.
Yeah.
Especially as well, like you probably appreciate like being in such great shape now compared to the starting point
100%.
of 135 pounds.
Yeah, 100%, man. And even like financially, you know, I'll give you this story. It might be a little bit long, but when I was young, when I was in high school, I would most of the time get my lunch from the dollar store. So like everybody knew I was the guy who would eat tuna in the hallways. I would eat sardines. I would eat canned sardines almost every day. Walk up the hallway, it smelled bad, so I started, you know, walking outside to eat my sardines, right? Because nobody wanted to smell them. But one day I went to the dollar store to get my lunch. It was like 2 cans of sardines, some ramen noodles, and like some canned tuna. It was like $7 or whatever. I went to tap with my debit card and I got declined. And then the lady was like, okay, you don't have enough money on your debit card. If you give us some cash, then we can take that balance off of the price, and then you can tap again. So I had like $4 in my wallet. Gave her $4. It was $3 on the register. Tapped, got declined again. Then I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have enough money. I gotta leave. I just leave. And super random, like she couldn't give me the money back, because if she had taken money that she had already put in the register out, then it would look like she had stolen it. So like I'm like 15, 16, whatever, and I'm like in this big argument with this lady over $4 in the cash register, and there's a lineup forming behind me. And at the time, $4 was so big to me, bro. $4 was a huge deal. And I ended up leaving short $4 and without any food, and with the embarrassment of not being able to pay that $3 with my debit card. And you know, I didn't even want to stand at the bus stop because I was too embarrassed that the people who were behind me in line would see me and would laugh at me or something. So I walked all the way home. It took me like an hour and a half. And you know, that moment really kind of showed me how much I hated not having money. And you know, fast forward now to where I'm not rich by any means, but you know, I have 2 jobs. I'm making money from both of them. I trade crypto, I trade stocks. You know, I'm able to pay for my own housing. I'm able to pay my own. I have enough money to be able to pay my own tuition. I'm in a much better financial situation to where if I want to go and get a burger, if I want to go to a restaurant, if I want to take somebody to a restaurant and get a steak, I can do that without really having to think about it that much. And you know, I appreciate it so much now. I appreciate the ability to be able to eat whatever I want, whenever I want now, because rewind a couple years, that was not the case. So yeah, it definitely, you know, you appreciate things more. Appreciate things a lot more. But I would say you have to have an understanding of what you're eating. Like, if you're serious about gaining weight, then you need to track how many calories you're consuming, because it's almost impossible to just eyeball it, right? So what I would do if I were, you know, coaching you, if I were to tell you, okay, you need to gain weight, I'm gonna help you gain weight. Basically, I would tell you, okay, download Chronometer, right? Get a calorie tracking app, track your calories for a week, whatever you usually eat, and then find how much calories you're eating, or how many calories you're eating on average every day. So just add up the amount of calories that you eat in the week, divide by 7. That's your maintenance. And then from there, just add like 500 calories. And like,
so you wouldn't recommend for someone to just eyeball eating more?
No. Because it's hard to be consistent with that, right? You know, it's basically anybody, you can think you're eating more, but if the food that you're eating isn't high calorie, like for example, one thing that a lot of people don't know is fat. There are 3 macronutrients. There's fat, there's protein, and there's carbs. Protein and carbs, 1 gram only has 4 calories, whereas 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. And I think 1 gram of alcohol has like 8 calories. So, you know, you could eat 5 plates of protein and carbs and, you know, only get 2,500 calories. Whereas if you eat 5 plates that are high in fat, you're getting 4,500 calories. And that difference could literally be cooking your food in olive oil instead of using like the pan spray or like whatever. So super hard to eyeball, bro. I would say you just need to actually track everything. Like if you're very serious about gaining weight, then start tracking. Yeah, 100%. I said I would advise anybody who really wants to gain weight or lose weight. You can't really, if you don't track your food, then you really have no idea what you're consuming.
And Chronometer is what do you recommend? I know there's also Cal.ai, MyFitnessPal acquired Cal.ai, but like Chronometer is the one.
Yeah, it's the best one.
That's the
I
best
would
one.
say that they help you track macronutrients, micronutrients, so like your electrolytes, calcium, all that stuff. I think Chronometer is the most comprehensive app, and it's what I use personally. But realistically, any app is fine. I mean, usually the apps that like only let you do the photo scan aren't accurate because photos can't really tell the depth all the time of the food, and like maybe can't tell if you use olive oil or if you use butter or if you use spray, like, so they're not as accurate. So any app where you actually have to input what you cooked with and how much would work. But I just use Chronometer.
And then I kind of went into that new topic of nutrition, but I was wondering, on a broad sense, with you, like you said, like you're paying for everything yourself now and whatnot. Is that financial freedom, or what is the 100 million financial freedom, or what is that for you?
What is financial freedom for me? Well, I think financial freedom is
like once you get to this point, or I guess it's not even a good way to look at it because you'd probably still be like working past the point where you're set.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's super important for me is to be able to make sure that my mom doesn't have to work anymore. Especially like with AI coming up and with a lot of the stuff happening.
Now there's bigger risks and there's like a more at stake.
Yeah, and especially for people who are already in the workforce, AI is going to take a lot of jobs, and I don't want my mom to have to worry about her job security. And we talk about money sometimes, and I'm gonna make sure that my mom's good, that she doesn't have to worry about rent or bills or debt or anything like that.
Do you think sales is at risk of AI taking over?
Definitely not.
No?
Definitely not. No. Yeah. Sales is all human interaction. I think anything that relies on human-to-human connection cannot be taken over by AI, because an AI can't shake your hand, right? An AI can't really become friends with you unless you're super susceptible to artificial intelligence. I mean, maybe one day it'll be able to become friends with you, but AI.
But that's a safe sector.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think financial freedom. My responsibility as a man is to take care of the women that are important to me. So my mom taken care of. She doesn't have to worry about a bill in her life. I have a half sister that I've never really met. She lives in England, so she had a kid when she was extremely young, and I'm pretty sure she takes care of them by herself. I actually don't really know. Haven't spoken to her, but I have a picture of her in my room. So when I make it happen, I'm gonna make sure that she's taken care of. All that. I think that is. This might be like a bad take, or this might not be the greatest thing to say on them, but I think as a man, it is your responsibility to be able to provide and to protect the women that are important to you. So yeah, my mom, my sister, when I have a wife, I think financial freedom to me is being able to ensure that that they are comfortable, that they love their lives, that they are able to have what they want, they are able to do what they want, and they don't have to worry, because I'm here.
Where do you learn all about this? Are you into reading at all, or?
I am actually, yeah. More recently, I've started reading, like, where have I learned about money, or where have I learned where have I kind of developed these opinions?
More so on the topic of money, but like feel free to say for the other stuff as well.
Yeah, I guess so. For money, I had always really been thinking about it since a young age, just because, not being able to pay for things that I wanted, not being able to have things that I wanted to have, kind of cheesed me. So, ever since a young age, I would watch YouTube videos about money, about currency, about saving, which I actually don't think that saving is super important, but that's a different
that's
topic.
a hot take right there.
That's probably a different topic, but I've been, trying to learn about money for a pretty long time, mainly through YouTube videos, and just because, money runs the world, and if you don't have a lot of money, then it's hard to do a lot of things. So that's kind of that, and then I guess the opinions that I have kind of just come from my life experiences, I guess. Yeah.
So what books are on your radar in like the broad sense as well? Like what have you been reading? And
Actually, I read Substack. So I swing trade. A lot of people know like Substack is where people will post theses about different stocks and why you should invest in this and why you should invest in that. So a lot of finance guys and girls are on Substack, but as I've been going and reading financial reports and people's opinions on stocks, I've actually found that a lot of people write essays on Substack too, which I didn't really know about. So I've started to read people's essays and
write your own as well.
Yeah, I started writing my own essays, and that's what I'm reading, and I enjoy it, man. Like I've gotten a lot more busy recently just with work, but I love to read and to learn about other people's opinions and thoughts. I think reading, I think text or books or essays or writing, kind of reading gives you the ability to learn things from other people that maybe had taken them years to learn, right? Like I read David Goggins' book back in the day, Can't Hurt Me, I think it was called. And, it was like his experiences from a kid to where he was when the book was published. And it's like, I was able to take away a lot of the lessons that he learned over 40 years in, a couple of hours, right?
Yeah, it condenses years of knowledge onto just one piece of text.
Yeah, and especially like personalized knowledge, personalized experiences. It's like, this podcast, right? Like I guess a lot of the things that I've thought about, a lot of the things that I'm doing, a lot of my opinions, that I've developed over a long time. I guess I'm sharing this 40-minute, 50-minute, however long it's going to be podcast. So, and not like I've really achieved anything of note yet. But I was thinking about it. I've been thinking about it as we've been talking. I'm going to look back at this podcast maybe 10 years from now when I've done something great. And look back on what I was talking about and how I thought and what I was doing at 19 years old. So, future me is going to be watching this video and hopefully make myself proud.
10 years from now, you're watching this podcast and you get to this exact same point, and 10 years from now, the present you leaves a message. What message do you have to yourself in 10 years?
What message do I have for myself in 10 years? Okay.
And then mark this down and you count 10 years from today.
That's actually a great question. So
Before, don't just go into it, feel free to think, because I think of it as like a personalized message. 10 years, like, hi, me in 10 years, and like really put some thought into it, because it's the only 10-year message you're gonna put out.
I think I know exactly what my main ideas are gonna be, and it's just about articulating them. So I have no doubt in my mind that future me is vastly successful, that I have achieved my 10-year plan, that I have achieved success financially, that I have become extremely knowledgeable and well-spoken, that I am in monstrous shape. But I want to tell myself, or I want to tell you, that although your goals are important, don't lose sight of what you want to do for the world. And when I say that, I mean, I want you to make a difference. I want you to change the world. And that doesn't mean just making money and being in good shape and being smart and being great. That means helping people. That means creating something that will leave a positive impact on the lives of others. And I want you to remember that. And I want you to change the world. That's what I want. That's the message that I want to leave.
That's so beautiful. And I always ask this at the end of every podcast, this one question before that, and we wrap it up with that last question. Is there anything else you feel maybe I should have asked you, or anything else you wanted to say before we wrapped up?
Anything else? I think you asked very good questions, and I guess maybe I would have wanted to go a bit deeper into kind of purpose. I guess I would have liked to speak about that a little bit more, about, where purpose comes from, about why, because it's important to have a why behind every goal. Anybody can decide they want to be rich, but why you want to be rich, what are you doing to get there, that kind of stuff. But no, really, really good podcast. I really enjoyed it, and I loved talking to you. And
well, there has to be some purpose into it. Let's conclude with that, that topic of purpose and how you're finding it. Like, what's so important there that you feel the world needs to hear about purpose?
You create purpose day by day. So purpose isn't just having a long-term goal and thinking about it and trying to achieve it. Purpose is every decision that you make, from the time that you wake up to the time that you go to sleep. Everything that you do should reflect the person that you want to become. So, live your purpose today, and don't wait. Live your purpose right now with every decision that you make.
That rhymes. That's amazing. Live your purpose today. Yeah, that's so true. The last question I ask Shae at the end of every podcast episode is, I say, if you could leave one last message to the world, your greatest philosophical take, your greatest life take, your greatest message that you want everyone in the world right now, it's probably going to get 34 views, but if everyone in the world was listening right now, and you could communicate this grandiose, like, this is what life is all about. This is like imagine all 8 billion people, you could insert this thought into their head right now. What do you have to say? But the twist is, you're only allowed to say one singular word. And before you say that one word, don't give it away. So beforehand, explain or give hints as to the word that you're going to say, and then eventually say it. So for example, the last guest, you could see that episode was with Sela Caldwell. I'm not going to spoil her last word, but before that, she talked about all the different topics we talked about, let's say whether it was her different past experiences, her past stories, whatnot, about God, about purpose, about, mindset, all of these things. And so kind of without saying this one word. So for example, even further back, someone ended off by saying eyes. And then beforehand, how it is like he said, the word I'm going to leave you with today is that when you look at this, it tells you a lot about the person that you're speaking with, and kind of build that up, and then the very moment that you say your final message to the world, the final one word, the moment you say that one word, it's going to stop instantly.
Every day that you wake up and you open your eyes, every time that you walk outside and you look up at the sky, every time you touch, you are enjoying something beautiful. You are enjoying something that is a gift. A gift that you must not take for granted. In every moment from here on out, with every choice that you make, there are consequences, positive or negative. But even so, in this very moment in time, you are completely free.